The Old Masters Gallery in Dresden, Germany, displays around 750 paintings from the 15th to the 18th centuries. It includes Italian Renaissance works, Dutch, Flemish, German, French and Spanish painters, of which the 14 must-see masterpieces I will show you in this video. Sistine Madonna, oil painting created in 1513 to 14 by Raphael, master painter of the Italian High Renaissance. The painting is considered as one of the world's most famous Renaissance masterpieces. But why the Madonna has been admired so much by public and experts for centuries? Probably because she was depicted as one of us, walking calmly and decently towards us, carrying her precious child. And as us ordinary, she doesn't know yet the terrible fate of her child, while those two cute cherubs might already know. The Dresden Triptych, or Virgin and Child with St. Michael and St. Catherine and Madonna, is a very small hinged triptych altarpiece by the early Netherlandish painter Jan van Eyck, created for a private client. It consists of 5 individual panel paintings, a central inner panel with enthroned Virgin with the infant Christ, and 2 double-sided wings with the figures of the Archangel Michael and St. Catherine. The Annunciation scene is on the outside of the wings. The work is dated 1437. There is an opinion that Jan van Eyck invented glazes that gave oil a wondrous luminosity. His paintings had new depth and 3-dimensionality. He gave us the photorealism of the Dutch masters, having the fact that in 1434 the rules of perspective were just being written in Italy. Girl reading a letter at the open window by Johannes Vermeer. This picture is regarded as one of the earliest interior paintings by Vermeer with a solitary figure. Previous X-ray examinations and other tests indicate that a picture of naked Cupid in the painting had been overpainted not by Vermeer's hand in 18th century. On this basis, the Old Masters Gallery officials have decided to remove the overpaint. It means the future visitors of the Old Masters Gallery are going to enjoy watching the masterpiece just as it was when it left the artist's studio without Cupid. But what can we see on the picture? The room is full of fresh air swaying the curtains, and expensive tumbler blanket and dish with fruits are left in rush just to read the desired letter. The young lady is upset by what she is reading, and her well-prepared gown and hairdress, it is all in vain. The Procuress is a painting by the then 24-year-old Johannes Vermeer. Walking slowly, he produced relatively few paintings, but his slower walk allowed a greater focus on details, depicting a scene of so-called masonry love, maybe Vermeer's boldest painting. In fact, this depicted scene was so outside the norm for Vermeer that many doubted he actually painted it, even though experts suspect the musician on the left is a possible self-portrait. The role of the musician is the most neutral in this scene. He is just a casual witness. Whereas the two, agreeing the deal, have their eyes down and only mimics is obvious. And the main dealer, the Procuress in the black, with a cunning side on the both sides of the deal. 3 or 4 figures are largely cast in the dark gloom, while the courtesan is bathed in the harsh bright light illuminating her overly rouged cheeks. The Chocolate Girl by Jean-Etienne Liotard in 1744. This image of a simple serving girl painted in Vienna in 1744 became Liotard's most famous pastel. It is not known whether he portrayed a real individual or merely depicted a parlor maid serving hot chocolate as a type. The low social status of the subject, the full figure profile depiction and the realistic representation made this painting significantly different from all the others in the historic pastel cabinet. Sleeping Venus by Giorgione or Titian in 1510, one of the most famous works in the collection. It is the first large-scale representation of a female nude painted in Venice. This painting, traditionally attributed to the Italian Renaissance painter Giorgione, although it has long been widely thought that Titian completed it after Giorgione's death in 1510 in his 30s. Generations of artists have been inspired by this painting for centuries afterwards. The Nativity, also known as the Holy Night or the Adoration of the Shepherds, is a painting finished around 1530 by the Italian painter Antonio de Correggio. All light emits from the newborn infant in the stable of Bethlehem, that manifesting his divine nature, lovingly held by his mother's arms. This masterpiece was commissioned as altarpiece for a chapel in San Prospero in Reggio Emilia. The Tribute Money is a panel painting in oils by the Italian late Renaissance artist Titian. The subject here is the provocative question posed by Pharisees as to whether it is right to pay taxes to the emperor in Rome. Christ cleverly avoided the trap by asking for a coin bearing a portrait of the emperor and saying, "Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." The young Titian focused on the contrast between the confident Christ and the deceptive Pharisee. This double portrait of Rembrandt and his wife Saskia shows the couple in a moment of joyful exuberance. The motive of the soldier carousing in the tavern with a girl is similar to the works of the Caravaggio school in the Dutch city of Utrecht, which influenced the Rembrandt's work. The Abduction of Ganymede by Rembrandt. In this dramatic scene, Rembrandt depicts a boy of about 2 years of age, desperately thrashing about and screaming as he is lifted into the air by the eagle which has grabbed him by his clothing. The boy Ganymede was described in antique literature as a handsome youth. Unlike the artists from antiquity to the Baroque, Rembrandt broke with the classical tradition and transformed the image in a manner that must have been shocking to his contemporaries. Charles de Solier by Hans Holbein the Younger, German painter and printmaker. Solier, a French military commander and ambassador to England, has his portrait painted by Holbein. This painting was purchased as a work by Leonardo da Vinci before Holbein was recognized as the author. Likewise, the person on a portrait was not identified as Solier until 1881. Portrait of a boy by Pinturicchio The Renaissance developed a great interest in the individual. The gaze and posture of this boy creates the impression that he is addressing the viewer, which contributes significantly to the vibrancy of the image. The morning freshness of the color, the light and the delicacy of the drawing corresponds to the age of the boy. How would we imagine Dresden during the Augustan period without the views of the city painted by the Venetian artist Bernardo Bellotto? Bellotto always adapted in an artistic way his accurate views of the city and landscapes. He used the name Canaletto, by which his famous uncle and teacher Giovanni Antonio Canal was also known. In 1747, Bellotto came to Dresden, and, as court painter to the Elector of Saxony, he produced views of Dresden, Piena, and Königstein fortress. His works are masterpieces of view painting. Pietro Antonio Rotari was an Italian painter of the Baroque period. Born in Verona, he led a nomadic life and career and died in the St. Petersburg, where he had traveled to paint for the Russian court. His portraits, mostly for women, are renowned for being beautiful and realistic. The Feast of Love is a painting by Jean-Antoine Watteau depicting numerous couples in love. Together they sit or stroll in a landscape that is depicted with a loose brush stroke and is immersed in a particularly beautiful evening light. The scene is dominated by the statue of the love goddess Venus, which is taking the quiver and arrows away from her son Cupid. Obviously, he has already enough of them, and not in vain. Old Woman with a Basket of Coal by Peter Paul Rubens. This is an amazing allegory of life in 3 generations. A boy watching on embers as they are a miracle. In eyes of children, everything is next to miracle. The youth watching through embers on himself, but in far memory, which is obviously not happy. An old woman might be warming her hands, but her face is so happy that her treasure, her boys, are here with her. And all her wisdom is in overwhelming love to boys and in this moment of unity. Let me say that paintings chosen for this video, also the well-known masterpieces, are a small part of rich painting and sculpture collection one can admire in the Old Masters Gallery in Dresden.